What's going on, friends? Welcome to the studio, McFarland's Corner, and we are going to catch you guys up right now for the weekend, but very quickly. There's been some kind of dramatic things happening through the week, weather-wise, that have temporarily affected the fish, and I want to make sure and just help you out and clarify for you that the ups and downs of fishing, we all know. We're used to that, and that's what you got to kind of put in mind. Look ahead, what's coming, south winds, south weather, good weather, warm trend. Really what's happened here, and I'll explain in just a second, is again a temporarily little sting for the fish, but we're in a good temperature parameter that should fire up the fish. And here's what I expect: a great event. I absolutely expect to see more overs than we've seen in the past. And in past Berkeleys, you've seen 3, 4, 5, maybe 7 overs. I'm going to guess 12 to 15. I think the underclass fish also, the under the slot, is going to be a very good count. Expect to catch a lot of fish. Full moon weekend, everything couldn't be set better. With that in mind, let me tell you what's happened. So first of all, lake level, typical 401. We were 2 foot below pool Monday, basically the weekend. And then in 4 days, we've come down almost 2 inches, a little more than 2 inches. That's not that bad. Half an inch a day drop, maybe a little less, okay? Or maybe a little more, I'm sorry, for 3 days, from Monday to today, but it is Thursday. The clarity, there's some beautiful clear water. One of my clients noticed that, said, wow, this water's just crystal clear. And I didn't even realize how clear it was until I dropped my spinnerbait. And I went, wow, that's a 3 foot, 2.5, 3 foot visibility. I've got 0 to 2 here. There's some beautiful water. If you're not finding good water, you need to keep moving. And number 2, temperatures. This is really what happened. We were sitting there in that stable window. 74s was probably the lowest I saw. 73 one morning, but we were still sitting 76 and 78. That's where the core of the lake was. We had 3 Monday north wind, northeast winds. Tuesday transition into Wednesday. Cold front hit, big east winds, big rocking of the lake. I mean, I canceled my trip on Wednesday. It was rocking the lake so bad it wasn't worth taking the whooping to go show guys around. And we're going to make it up on Friday. I had the opening, thank goodness. But it was so big, it rocked the lake so much that, yes, today, 72, 74 parameter, and fishing was tough. And that's why I want to get to this quickly. However, the morning was cold, 40 degrees, also 44 degrees. The cold front came through and just gave us a little sting, let's call it. Most of everybody that fished the morning, almost everybody that I talked to, including myself, experienced the same thing. It's still an east wind coming, cold front. The day after, bluebird skies, tough fishing. Okay. However, again, it's such a mild sting, and it's not even that. We got beautiful temperatures. These fish are going to fire up. They have fired up. I've already got a friend of mine this afternoon at about 3 o'clock said he started catching them. So, fishing is going to be good this weekend. I want you to remember a few things just publicly that I can help you with here on our public channel. Some basic stuff. Remember, everything has to be Berkeley baits. You need to use all Berkeley baits. I think in terminal cases, hooks, jig heads, and things like that, like a jig head, you can use those with a Berkeley bait. For example, spinner baits and stuff like that. They do make spinner baits, so I think you have to use spinner baits. I don't think they make a buzz bait. If they do, you have to use the buzz baits. You can no longer, I believe, take the skirts off and use the buzz baits, terminal part. Double check that though. I like to take a buzz bait. I take everything off, and I used to put the Berkeley toad on there. Or we talked about some other stuff that you can do doing that. Double check that if you're going to do that. But that's a cool little public tip. You might have, a buzzbait bite going, and if you're allowed to, again, you can take that stuff off that buzzbait, put a Berkeley bait on it, and use it. Berkeley bait with some terminal. I think it still has some, Texas rig, for example. You don't have to use. They don't have Berkeley weights and Berkeley hooks, but they do. But you don't have to specifically use it to that degree. So remember, topwater bites are there, reaction bites are there. So have yourself out those kinds of baits. Berkeley puts out a whole variety, both hard and soft baits. and they all, man, they're all great baits. In the old days, we had to change hooks and things, and not so much on the Berkeley line, but in all the lines when you got those big production type baits. Today, the Berkeley Bullet Pop, for example, I use it right out of the package. I mean, tying it to get stuck in my finger. Sometimes it's so frustrating. The hooks they're decent. Do they last a long, long time? No, but they're fusion hooks and they're good hooks. So don't forget. So your Berkeley baits, hard bait wise, don't worry about changing hooks. Don't get so crazy in that. They make good stuff. Also remember that with the power bait, I'm not going to tell you that this one that says 45% more is better than the 18% or this 8 times longer. This one says fish hold on 18 times longer. This one says, it catch 45% more. That'd be false advertising if they didn't have some kind of backing for it. Their science and their studies can prove whatever degree that is meaning. There is effects. I do notice that the max scent a lot of times will get more bites in fish that don't want to bite. But anyways, with that being said, make sure you can get just about everything right there at the tent. Lake Fork Marina is set up so well, and they've really got great stock for all that stuff. So if you need anything Berkeley, I will tell you this: your biggest challenge in this tournament is not the weather. It's not whether you had a good practice or a bad practice. In fact, the practicing and catching fish prior to this tournament is irrelevant. So I just want to play some of you guys' head if you're still watching the show. Number one, there's so many boats going on that this is actually like a poker game of who can actually lay back and still fish efficiently or more efficiently and not get caught up in everything. And, in other words, if you were by yourself and you went into fishing, say, a backwater, you would make, 100 specific perfect casts that are hitting targets that are high percentage strike casts. When you got boats all around you now, maybe you only make 20 because you're distracted and there's just everything. Can you lay back, find that groove, and still get 80 instead of 100? I hope that made sense. You gotta lay in the pocket and let everything evolve around you. Don't be distraction. Fish better than everybody else simply because you stay more focused than everybody else. Fish the stuff that's being missed. For docks, for example, everybody's going to hit the outside edges of the docks. Those fish are probably going to suck underneath those docks. And do you have power poles? Can you power pole down on a dock and really dissect it? Maybe give it 15, 20 minutes, be real quiet. Sit down on your boat, smoke a cigar, whatever you do, have a soda, and go back and fish the dock again for 15 more minutes. That's a half an hour on a dock. You know what? If you move from that dock to the next dock, someone's going to take the dock you were on, and so on and so on, if the next dock's available. I think you see where I'm going. Find a groove and play those cards. Play your cards. It's poker. That's the hardest part. I've been here 11 years, and every year I figure out a pretty decent bite. That's what I do for a living, catch fish for a living, guiding. I always find something, and every time I feel like it's the same thing. I just had breakfast this morning with a great set of clients. They caught 40 fish. They fished in the Big Bass Splash. I showed them some water. The first fish we caught was a giant over. Would have cashed a check hourly, minimally, might almost won. And yet, they caught 40 fish and only one of those could weigh. It's a challenge. Lake Fork's a challenge. So go have fun. That's what I got. If anything changes tomorrow after I fish, Friday, I'll just pop on and do a quick update. If you want more information, if you want the juice, you want to really know what part of the lake's fishing best, which side, east side, west side is better to be on. If you just want to know exactly what baits have been more effective than others and the wide variety to choose from that we have, you want to iron it down, subscribe to my members only channel. Look in the description below the video. Okay? Not watching the video, click out of the video. Look below it. It'll say description. In there you'll see members only. Click on members only and subscribe. We would love to have you come over. Tons and tons and tons of information in there. A lot more detailed information. And if you're not fishing this tournament, you probably are not watching any longer this particular rundown. But if you want to know for the future, we offer the reports for multiple other lakes. Lake Bodark, Lavon, Hubbard, Possum Kingdom, Tawakanee, Athens, Hawkins, Williamsboro, Lake Welsh. So eight to nine other lakes in that members only report that you can get information about. All right. Love to have you. Thanks again for watching. Hit the like button, comment below, and have a great weekend fishing.